You have the matches, you have the flame. You can light my world on fire, but watch me rise again. Watch me rise again. Watch me rise again. Hurting me is all that you intend to do. Let me warn you that pain is nothing new. Yes, you can hurt me, but you're not the only one. No, you're not the only one. There's nothing you can do that hasn't already been done. I am the phoenix. I was born in flame and ashes. I will rebuild the world that everyone else trashes. You have the matches. You have the matches. You have the flame. You can light my world on fire. Watch me rise again. Watch me rise again. Level the playing field. Even the storm, make them all yield and come back for more. Level the playing field. Even the storm, make them all yield and come back for more. You created the game, you made the rules. I played my part, but I refuse to stay the fool. You can break my heart, but you can't break me. I'm rising up, I'm reaching out, I'm soaring free. I'm soaring free. I am the phoenix, rising up from flame and ashes. I will rebuild the world for everyone else crashes. You have the matches, you have the flame. You can light this world on fire, but I will rise again. I am the phoenix. Watch me rise again. If love walked in the room today, would you know it came your way? If it called your name, what would you say? Would you come to it or walk away? I've been searching everywhere, all around for love, but I don't know where it's found. Can you tell me, does it have a sound? A color, a look, is it square or round? Fairy tales, Hollywood and romance books. Is love only for those with perfect looks? Is love just a dream I created in my mind? Or is it waiting somewhere for me to find? If it already came, can I hit rewind? I've been searching, but I'm blind. If love walked in the room today, would you know it came your way? If he called your name, what would you say? Would you come to it or walk away? say, if love walked in the room today, would you know it came your way? If it called your name, what would you say? Would you come to it or walk away? I think I found love, but I'm not sure. Can my heart trust that his love is pure? All I know is when he's near I feel secure. I've fallen so hard and there's no cure. No perfect body, so perfect loves. No fairy tales, Hollywood or romance books. I think love walked in the room today. I think you finally came my way. I know I couldn't walk away. I finally know what I would say. If this is love, I hope you'll stay. If this is love, I need you to stay. Please don't ever walk away. Please don't ever walk away. Living homeless in a place where I share all the space. I'm grateful for what I've got, but it challenges me a lot. Like finding a place to meet clients so I can get off the street. I've got no money in the bank, can't even put gas in the tank. Walking everywhere in the heat leaves me sweaty, not sweet. I'm striving to do better, it's true, but I don't always know what to do. I've got all this value inside me, but it's not always so easy to help other people see I'm a walking golden opportunity. Today's a new opportunity to change our current society. The help you get today can get things on their way. I don't want a handout, that's not what I'm about. I just need a hand up, a little love to fill my cup. I'm a writer, an artist, and a designer, copywriter, marketer, trainer, and planner. My list of skills runs miles long. You're wondering where I went wrong. I'm in a love-hate relationship with society. I love people, but I don't find it funny the way we value each other by our money. I wish more people could see and agree. Today's a new opportunity.
Change our new society. Okay, let me pull up our writing and chatting today, or Together We Write, rather. Whew, my glasses are fogging up. I'm so excited, apparently. Sure, Sherry. Yeah, I know, Pookie, right? I need to market that. But see, that's the thing. I am never old, ever. And so if he's the same age as me, he also can't be old. So that's how that logic works. So the minute that he hits my birthday, he automatically goes and is no longer old. But the minute he ages out of my age range, he is old. Hey, Cal! Yes, it's off to writing time we go. So I'm going to read back through the last 2 chapters just to catch everybody up to speed, and then we'll decide what we do from here. Y'all. Chapter 38. Earl makes his move. Earl swore as he touched the skillet's hot handle by accident. He shook out the pain and reached for the pot holders, checking the time as he adjusted the heat. Should be ready right on time, he thought. Fireball, nose in the air, appeared in the doorway. "You?" she asked, as if asking him what the plan was for dinner. "Nothing for you, miss. Your food's right over here," he said, pointing toward the untouched food at the sides of the bowl. She blinked at him and looked at the bowl. "Mew?" He sighed, walked over to the bowl, and shook it so that all the food returned to the center, then put it back down in front of her. "See? Plenty of food." She sniffed at it, looked back at him. "Mew?" He set the bowl down. "No, you can't have some. This is for Lauren and me." "Mew?" was Fireball's response as she followed him toward the stove. He sighed and picked her up, then brought her into the living room and dropped her on the couch. No, you are not invited to share in that dinner. Fireball stared at the door. Mew? Earl sighed. No, you can't go outside. No, Hawkeye's not back yet. Sorry, girl. She gave him a look that suggested she didn't believe a word he'd said, then began to clean herself as if he no longer existed in her eyes. He shook his head and started to head back to the kitchen when the doorbell rang. He swung it open to find Lauren there, wine bottle in hand. I thought I'd bring something to add to the party. Fireball leapt off the couch and ran in Lauren's direction, rubbing herself against Lauren's legs. Mew! She seems happy to see you, he chuckled. She was complaining about her food a moment earlier. Oh, Lauren asked, reaching down to scratch Fireball behind the ears. She seemed to think she should be included in what we're having for dinner and didn't seem at all impressed with what's in her bowl, he explained. Lauren shrugged. Can you blame her? Earl laughed. Nah, I guess I can't. Probably wouldn't want to eat what's in that bowl either, and I'm hoping that what I'm cooking is a far sight better than what's in the bowl. Lauren grinned. Me too. I'm not sure this wine pairs well with cat food. Earl returned the grin as he grabbed the skillet off the burner and placed it in the center of the table. You got a point there. Lauren looked at his hand when he took off the oven mitt and asked, You burn yourself? Earl nodded. Just a bit. Lauren winked. Want me to kiss it and make it all better? Earl felt his face getting hot at the thought of those lips on his skin. He scrambled to think of something safe to say. He didn't have to, though. Fireball came to his unexpected rescue by jumping up on the table. Lauren shook her head and picked up the cat. I see what you mean by her insisting on being part of the party. She looked at Fireball. You stay out of this, missy. I don't need your help with my date, thank you. She returned Fireball to the front room before walking back to the dining nook. Skillet spaghetti, she asked, referring to the dish on the table. Earl nodded. Something my mom used to make. I figured you might enjoy it. They sat down together and she poured them both a glass of wine. I hope you like the Merlot I got. It's one of my favorites. How's Hawkeye? Earl asked. Back home yet? Lauren took a sip of the wine before answering. Her nose crinkled. He's back. I forgot to tell him you wanted to meet with him. Got distracted by what he brought with him. Earl raised an eyebrow. What he brought with him? She nodded. A job offer. For me and a couple of other members of Mortus's team. From the military, no less. Both of Earl's eyebrows rose. A job offer? You planning to accept? She didn't strike him as the military sort. I don't like the idea. I'm inclined to say no, but I know everyone in our group is hurting for money, and I'm told they want us all or none of us, she admitted. Earl sipped his own wine. What exactly is it they want you to do? I mean, if you're free to tell me. Lauren shrugged one shoulder. I don't know. They haven't explained it. Earl nodded. Then it doesn't hurt to listen and hear them out, does it? Maybe ask for more details. That's what I'd do if it were me. She sighed. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. He could tell she was growing uncomfortable with the conversation, so he switched topics. So how's the band? Toxic Chemical Smoothie, right? Now that Hawkeye's back, you got any gigs lined up? His face brightened. As a matter of fact, we've got one this weekend. Want to come? He smiled. I do. What time's the gig and where? If I don't have to work, you can count on me being there. She grinned. It's at 7 p.m. at Eastside Park. There's a nice little amphitheater there we play at. Bring your own lawn chair and prepare to have me rock your world. He raised his glass. I can toast to that. The discussion slowed down as he served them each a hearty helping of the skillet spaghetti. Earl's imagination got the better of him as he watched her eating. She noticed his eyes on her and gave him a grin. This is delicious. Thanks for the dinner. My pleasure, he murmured. Happy to be of service. Speaking of service, should I call Hawkeye and let him know where to pick up Fireball? She asked. I can bring her with me to the office if that's easier for him, Earl offered. Lauren nodded. I think he'd appreciate that. She pulled out her phone and sent a text message, then tucked it back into her purse. I've let him know. I'll let you know what he says. He's still recovering from that ordeal, but I think having Fireball back would help him heal. Might help my couch heal, too, Earl quipped. She's been using it as a scratching post since she got here. They lapsed back into a momentary silence as they went back to eating. Earl searched for something meaningful to say, but he wasn't a man who was big on words. He preferred action, and the action on his mind weren't exactly polite conversation. Chapter 39, A Delivery Arrives. As the call ended, Hawkeye heard a muffled sound outside his door, but when he opened it, there was no one there. His eyes narrowed. Timing seemed a little too coincidental to him. He took a long look back down the street, both sides, before closing it and heading back inside. He got a text message from Lauren at that moment. Detective Mann's got Fireball. He's offering to let you pick her up at the station. When's good time? Hawkeye frowned. As much as he missed her, now was not a good time for Fireball to be there. Not sure, I'll let you know. He inspected the streets one more time before shutting the door. Something in his gut was screaming that there was something very wrong. He'd already been kidnapped once. He didn't want it happening again. Hey, Cal! Anyone here a celebrity? Oh, I don't know. This whole book was secretly a harem fantasy with Delilah slowly collecting the group as her own. That means we'll 100% be picked up by trad public. No. No harems.
True. You would have to get published.
It possibly would, yes. Let's see. The worst thing is having to use those discounts. That makes me big. Oh my goodness. Nah, you 100% get published if you write Dubcon, Romantasy, and are a female author. The advance is already in the mail. It's not the only way to get traditionally published, but it does help. Title like, my family name is Kardashian. Deliberately misspelled. Oh, yeah, traditional publishing is a hot mess right now. And unfortunately, ruled in large part, over 90% of traditional publisher and traditional publishing editors are female and liberal. And that's why publishing is the way it is right now. Which is unfortunate because a lot of men are getting locked out of the traditional publishing market. You know, not that I intended to take a side rant on publishing, but a lot of men are getting locked out of the traditional publishing market, even when their stuff is wildly popular. Now, Brandon Sanders has been an exception to the rule. He's been able to get there. They are happy to publish his work, but even the guy who wrote The Witcher, you know, I've read it. It was a pretty liberal work. So it's kind of bizarre stuff. It's really tough to be a conservative author in this market. Even though conservative works, when they're done well, outsell and outperform liberal works 9 times out of 10. But that's kind of beside the point, I guess. We'll go back to working on our work, and the beautiful thing about our work is that we have the ability to choose how, when, whether, and if we publish it. And we can do that because I have the power of the publishing platforms. I know how to get it done. So, alright. Hawkeye frowned. As much as he missed her, now was not a good time for Fireball to be there. Not sure, I'll let you know. He inspected the streets one more time before shutting the door. Something in his gut was screaming that there was something very wrong. You know what? We just don't need that. Let's do that. His gut was screaming that there was something very wrong. It was too redundant. He'd already been kidnapped once. He didn't want it happening again. He frowned and returned to his computer. He sat down to check his email and noticed a header from Major Mike Daniels with a subject line, "Confidential. Your meeting is scheduled." As he started to open that email, though, a notification popped up on his screen. "Warning, your computer may be infected." He read through the rest of the contents and wondered if he should be genuinely alarmed or if this was an actual threat. Again, another instance of suspicious timing. He copied down the warning and did a quick browser search of the exact wording. "Stupid scammers," he said, frowning. There was likely some kind of malware he'd managed to download onto his system. Irritated, he began running his antivirus software, scanning his files and making sure to get them cleaned up. That'll be 30 minutes of wasted time. He wanted to do some research on Major Daniels, but couldn't until the virus scan was done. Who was this guy? Was he for real? Mortus seemed to know and trust the man, but that didn't mean Hawkeye did. And how serious was this threat? What kind of global operation was this? Why hadn't he ever heard about it on the news outlets? 90% of the global population was 7.2 billion people. Why did this organization want to get rid of so many people? Were most of them rich jerks? Who were they going to get to do their laundry and cook for them if they got rid of so many people? He heard another muffled sound outside the door, and this time a jiggle of his doorknob. We can do that. It's not likely that the doorknob would turn with a drone, as 2 people pointed out, including my mother, who called me to make sure. You want good epic heroic fantasy or space opera, look at self-pub authors. They're killing it. Yes, they are. And I expect the stop-mo movie to be picked up by Lego Animation. Nice. He heard another muffled sound outside his door, and this time a jiggle of his doorknob. He stood up and moved in silence toward his bedroom, where he had a gun in the top of the nightstand. Sliding the gun out of the top drawer, he checked to be sure it was loaded before heading to the front room. He wasn't about to get himself kidnapped a second time. He opened the door slowly and peered out. This time there was a plain brown envelope outside the door. Inside the envelope was a badge, an address, a time, and a date. Hawkeye relaxed. Seemed a bit of overkill to do it that way, but he could appreciate the cloak and dagger. After all, you never knew whose eyes might be watching. As he thought of that, a beam of light caught his eye. He looked up, and suddenly the origin of the envelope made more sense to him. He caught a glimpse of a drone-shaped object hovering above his house right before it zipped out of sight. Drone deliveries? He supposed it made sense. Cheaper and less detectable than paying a person to deliver it. He walked back inside and returned the gun to the nightstand, grateful that he'd not needed to use it. Never, ever purchase a gun if you're not fully prepared to shoot to kill, his father warned him back when he'd received his first one. You're going to have to live with the consequences of taking another human life, regardless of how well-deserved that shot may be. So don't buy it if you're not ready for that. His stint in the military made him far more comfortable with using guns, but he'd never forgotten his father's warning. And he did his best not to reach for that gun unless he thought it was strictly necessary to protect his life or the life of someone he loved. His hand shook slightly with the adrenaline he'd felt as he opened that door. He was glad it was a drone. At least if he shot that little thing, it wouldn't be taking someone's life. He wondered if the message in the email was the same as the message in the envelope. And that's where we left off. Then the envelope jumped him. Yeah, no kidding, right? Alright, so that's where we left off. We had Hawkeye get an envelope with a date, a time. We've got Earl and Lauren having their little date. We've got, we left off with Seymour and Delilah. And what they're going to do next, we don't know, because Delilah basically left him hanging. We don't know if she's genuinely in a mess and genuinely needs him to bail her out, or if she was bluffing. We don't know what Seymour has decided to do about that situation. Is he going to just wire her the money? Does he have the money to wire her? These are all questions inquiring minds want to know. Oh, well, no, we had the muffled thump outside the door in the paragraph above. So a second muffled thump doesn't necessarily work. But, alright, so here we are, chapter 40. We've got options, folks. Options, 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 and opportunity. Whose chapter does this belong to? Are we giving it to Mortus and the gang and then Mike? Are we giving it to Lauren and Earl? Are we giving it to Seymour and Delilah? They do tend to come in pairs. Or are we going to give it to Jacobs? Oh, you know, that's true. Jacobs and Tolston. Maybe that's what we'll have it do, is we'll go back and the doorbell ring. Boop-a-doo. It's a good idea. Here we go. Okay, so let's see what we got. We got Jacobs and Dalston and Mortus and Mike. Alright. Yeah, we kind of need to catch back up with Dalston and Crew. But I am curious to see. Okay. Alright, Jacobs and Dalston it is. We got 3 votes. Do, do, do. So we're going to go back up and we're going to reread what happened the last time we left off with Dalston and them. Dalston felt an impending sense of doom as Jacobs forced her into the door of his vehicle and locked it behind her. The CIA was not going to make it to her in time, it seemed. She found herself sweating despite the AC running full blast. It took every ounce of her training to slow her heart rate and get her anxiety back under control. All she had to do was figure out what Jacobs wanted, what he suspected, and what he knew. Then she could use that to her advantage. Jacob slid into the driver's seat and rolled up the steel partition that separated his side from hers without a word. He didn't seem interested in talking. Great. That was okay, she reminded herself. It just gave her time to think, time to decide what her next move was. She was surprised when the car door opened again and DeVries was thrust into the back seat next to her. He seemed just as surprised to see her. Neither had time to question things before the ignition started and the car was on the move. She didn't know how much they could be heard back here, and she didn't want to give things away, so she said nothing. DeVries seemed to have the same idea, staring ahead without looking at her beyond the first glance. Her mind turned with questions. Were the military intelligence working with the Russians? If so, how much did they know? How much of the CIA's plans and her employers had been exposed? Her mind raced with the possibilities, and she could feel the sweat at the base of her hairline starting up again. She hated how out of control things felt right then. A quick glance at DeVries told her he, too, was feeling the pressure. Large beads of sweat formed along his forehead, despite the air conditioner blasting them. That confirmed to her that he was just as much in the dark as she was. Attempts to seduce Jacobs were unlikely to be successful. He'd worked with her for months before this and never given a hint, not even one, of his true disposition. He'd also been subject to her worst tempers without breaking. She frowned. She needed a better plan than that. Could she distract him? Cause him to need to pull over to the side of the road somehow? She eyed DeVries for a moment. If she were to knock him out, would that lead Jacobs to pull over and give her an opportunity to escape? She wouldn't mind putting that idiot into a coma. Better than leaving him conscious enough to talk. Then she smelled it. A slightly sweet but pungent odor. Her eyes widened as she recognized it. Laughing gas. She looked over at DeVries. His eyes met hers. She fought to stay awake, but the effort was futile. All too soon, the gas did its job. Her eyes felt heavier and heavier until she couldn't keep them open any longer. So that's where we left DeVries, Jacob, and Dalston. Now, whose side of the story are we working with in this chapter? Because we left off with Dalston from her point of view, and we don't know who her employer is. So this might be an opportunity to find out. So whose point of view is this chapter going to be told from? We got Jacobs. He's in the driver's seat. We got Dalston. Backseat plotting. Unknown employer. And then we have DeVries. He seems to be a simple schmuck, but who knows? All right, yeah, Jacobs would be a great opportunity for us to find out some things. Okay. See who else. We already know a little bit about Dalston. We don't know as much about Jacobs. This could be a good time to find out. 2 votes. All right. Dun 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 dun. I vote. All right, I'm gonna be the tiebreaker then, if nobody else wants to vote. Chapter 40. It's possible. It's possible. All right. We get one more minute to vote. One more minute. We'll start off with Jacobs. We may switch to DeVries by the end of this chapter. We'll see. Do 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 do. You know what I'm curious about? Let's check and see what our word count is currently. Ooh, we're getting up there. We're at 36,377 words. So we're almost at the novella stage. We're actually about 13,000 words short of a true novella, which is like between 40 and 50,000 words. And already this thing has got plenty of twisties and turnies. But we don't yet have a clear resolution of things, so I wouldn't feel comfortable calling it closed. All right, so Jacobs and the special delivery. Hey! Groceries was a nightmare. Good to see you, Jeff. Oh, I need to make sure my font size is readable for you guys. I forget about that part every time. Oh, yep, thank you. Make what, Tolston? Oh, yeah, Tolston. That explains the grin. I like your idea that he and Mike are directly connected. Well, she's a very human character, all right. Yes, this is Jacob's. This whole chapter is going to be from, well, at least part of it. DeVries may wake up in the middle of it because somebody voted for DeVries, so we may give him some screen time, so to speak. And that would make it more interesting if he shakes off the nitrous oxide before she can. He might cause trouble. Where? Oh, yep, you're right. Thank you. You guys keep me on my toes for sure. Sounds like a film director. Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, probably. Thank you for the reminder. Thank you for keeping me straight. Debris. That's funny. Be hilarious if his last name was not Debris but Debris. That's our chapter. Let's go ahead and read through that. Chapter 40 is Jacobs and the Special Delivery. Jacobs glanced over at the screen for the camera in the back of the car, checking on his passengers. They were both sleeping like babies. Tolston in particular was snoring like a lion. Very unladylike. He grinned. It was much easier to transport uncooperative prisoners when they were unconscious. A lot less sass and a lot less concern about scheming and plotting. Sweet dreams, you two. Get all the rest you can. You're gonna need it, he said as he turned his attention back to the road. He pushed a button on the car's steering wheel, hitting auto dial. Mike, this is Jacobs. I have the 2 packages you asked me to pick up, and we're on our way to the drop-off point. Perfect, Mike said. They give you any trouble? Jacobs chuckled. Didn't give them a chance to. Knock their butts out with some nitrous oxide. Enjoy the quiet ride, then. Let me know when you get here. I'll make sure the MPs are waiting for our guests, Mike said before hanging up. Jacobs enjoyed the drive and the quiet. He'd spent months embedded in Tolston's group. Actually, check that. Years. 5 years, to be specific. He spent 5 years embedded in Tolston's group, taking orders, acting like the good little lackey. It was nice to be able to relax and be himself. And it was going to be so satisfying when he got to deliver those 2 chuckleheads back there to the MPs. Tolston in particular. She'd quite arguably been the worst human being he'd ever had to work for in his entire life. If not for the importance of the mission, he'd have long since walked and left her in the dust. And that was saying something. The military was rife with less than ideal leadership. Tolston seemed to have a sadistic side to her and a fundamental need to demonstrate her power to anyone who crossed her on a given day. DeVries was a pathetic mule in comparison to Tolston. He might be a nasty piece of work himself, but he was relatively simple to understand and easy to control. Stroke the ego, tell him what he wanted to hear, give him what creature comforts he desired, and he'd gladly do whatever was asked. The worst part about DeVries was his overinflated sense of importance. They did need him. He did have the ability to confirm the mat's legitimacy, but with his integrity compromised and the ability to trust his word along with it, he was less useful than he imagined himself to be. Still, it was not his job to judge either Tolston or DeVries, at least not at this point. It was his job to deliver them to Daniels, alive. And once Daniels had them, his mission was complete. The rest was up to military intelligence. He shook his head. 5 years of work to get embedded into Tolston's group. 5 years of working for her in some of the most miserable conditions he'd ever experienced. And it was all about to come to an end. He felt nothing but relief over that. He just hoped his work would be enough. They still needed to figure out the CIA connection to the group that was trying to destroy the world. He knew it was there, he just hadn't quite been able to uncover it. Hopefully the military intelligence would be able to do what he'd not been able to do and get it out of her. They were not the gentlest of people when it came to extracting secrets from prisoners. And Jacobs didn't feel the least bad about that. Alrighty, so we got our chapter from Jacob's point of view. Somebody had suggested a chapter from DeVries' point of view, and this actually presents us an opportunity to ask a question and potentially introduce yet another plot twist, which we're really good at doing. All right. Does DeVries wake up early? Let's start that poll. What do you guys think? That is true. It would be a good time for his car to be potentially smashed into. And I did think about that too. See how many. Oh, yep. Yes, he does. All right. So DeVries is going to wake up early. Is the car going to be smashed into? Because those two are not necessarily separate. Start another poll. Oh, we do have so much fun. One more vote. That's true. That's true. Probably what woke him up. There we go. The votes are in. Now, here's another question we get to ask because of that one. We can have her get hurt. Yeah, no kidding. Ooh, this is a possibility. The wreck may not have been intended to stop them from reaching military intelligence, but actually to wipe out Tolston, or yeah, to wipe out Tolston and prevent her from talking. Ew. Yeah, I kind of like that idea. Oh, oh yeah. Alright. We have her definitely getting hurt. A metal divider? I don't know if it would be broken or not. It might be crumpled. Yes, exactly. Can't let the little cockroach die yet. I doubt Tolston's dead either, but we'll see how that goes. Chapter 41, An Unexpected Meeting. It was the screeching of metal on steel and the frantic screams of Tolston that woke DeVries. The car spun toward the side of the road, its driver's side passenger door crunched inward, pinning Tolston in place. Blood poured down the side of her face. The dump truck that collided with them shook off the impact like it was nothing, backed up and made its way down the highway. DeVries struggled to unfasten his seatbelt as the car flipped on its side and tumbled down the embankment. His head rang like a bell and his vision blurred as he wrestled himself free of the belt. He ignored Tolston's cries for help. She could take care of herself. He didn't need her slowing him down. Unfortunately, his window was blocked by the earth. He couldn't get out that way. The only way out was to climb over Tolston, but he didn't dare go that way. She was in hysteria, and he had no doubt she'd claw his eyes out if he tried. The metal divider was crumpled in the center, and a gap exposed between it and the car's ceilings, but it blocked his way to the driver's side. He couldn't tell if Jacobs was alive or dead. Not that he cared about the man. Then, quite suddenly, Tolston went silent. Her eyes closed. Her body relaxed. She'd passed out, he supposed, from the pain. He breathed a sigh of relief and climbed over her to reach the door. It was stuck. The mechanism that would have normally released the door was caved inward. He hit the window release to try and lower the window enough for him to crawl through, but with the engine dead, the window wouldn't work. He was trapped. He felt the first hints of panic set in. Was he going to die in this metal coffin? This couldn't possibly be how he went. Surely, somehow, someone would free him. He started screaming. Help! Someone help! He screamed for Jacobs. Help us, Jacobs, you bloody bastard! There was no response, no answer. The very real possibility that he was about to meet his end came over him, and every fear he'd ever had erupted to the surface. He began kicking at the window, desperate to break it open and break loose of the car. The glass proved surprisingly difficult to shatter. It was not the average car glass. It was designed for prisoners. DeVries, fueled by adrenaline and fear, didn't give up. He inspected the window and found a hairline crack forming at a side where the window met the car door. He aimed his kicks at that crack and kept kicking. It exploded outward in a shower of glass, his leg finally punching through. He got several cuts in his calf for the privilege, but fresh air poured in through the opening. He ignored the pain and kicked out a hole big enough for him to crawl through. Possibly be. Here we go. Now we have completed 2 chapters today. Woohoo! And yeah, it doesn't look good for Jacobs and Tolston. It does indeed look like they're going to meet their end here. Sad. Sad, sad. But DeVries, of course, has escaped. Because that's, as you said, what cockroaches do. Alright, guys. It is 20 minutes past the time when I normally call this to a close, and we have done a lot of really good work here. We have definitely opened up new possibilities and maybe closed some doors. So, thank you guys for joining me today. It's been a lot of fun getting to work on this. We have made a lot of progress. Hard to believe we have hit chapter 41, and we are now at, let's check our word count. Yes, 37,547 words, so getting closer to that 40K mark. Getting closer to having a true novelette. And we'll discuss the possibilities once we get to that end. Yes, time for food for sure. All right, have a great evening. Have a great rest of your weekend. Hope to see you on Monday for more of the Artful Audience and